I first began to experience a calling to the work that eventually became Heritage Academy when I met Ebony in an after-school tutorial program. We got onto a worksheet on the Civil Rights March in Washington, Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech. The last question on there was, what is your dream? And so I asked, Ebony, what's your dream? Ebony said she wanted to be a nurse. And I said to Ebony, well, what will it take to be a nurse? And she said, discipline. That's a very mature answer. And then she volunteered this answer. My mama doesn't want me to be like her. And then I leapt to, well, what if Ebony's mother had a choice about where to send her child to school? If she could attend a private Christian school, even though they were low income and resources were limited. And that's really where it began to take shape.
Our connection with Heritage came when Linda Tucciaroni showed up at Fireside Ministries downtown one day and said, what do y'all think about starting an urban Christian school? And we said, we feel great about that. How do we do that?
We were led to a school in Chicago and saw for the very first time what an urban Christian school would look like. And so we were inspired and came back and started doing our homework.
The very first class, the very first time we opened the doors, 5 kids showed up. We actually had more adults on the campus than children, which was a good thing. We ended the year with 10, and the exciting thing about that class is one out of that class, Jasmine Brickhouse, is serving, get emotional, on our board now.
This building that we're in is named after John W. Houghton. When he arrived in Augusta, he had 25 cents in his pocket. But when he died, he had earned a considerable fortune by running a shoe and leather emporium on Broad Street. He left $4,000 and this land to construct a brick schoolhouse. That first building was put up in the late 1800s. It was replaced by this building after the fire of Broad Street in 1916. And it was put up for about $1.50 a square foot. And today it's irreplaceable. This building closed as a public school in 2001. It was purchased by a developer out of Atlanta, was going to be turned into high-end condos. That never materialized. It was then purchased by Clay Boardman. He did some initial renovations on the building, put a new roof on, the new windows, painted our beautiful facade, uncovered that beautiful limestone carving. And then he came to me on December 23rd. 2 days before Christmas, we stood outside and it was cold. And he said, this needs to be the home of Heritage Academy. And I said, well, Mr. Boardman, what is it going to cost? He said, $5 million. He said, but the people of Augusta love what you're doing. And I think they want to be involved.
Well, when we first started researching the school and found out the address was 333 Green Street, we immediately kind of thought of Jeremiah 33:3, which is a promise from God. It says, call to me and I will answer you and I will show you great and mighty things that you know not of. And so we had that verse carved into a beam that we took out of the floor here and put in the foyer. So these children could walk under that promise from the moment they came to this school.
We started a capital campaign for $2.5 million. We were only going to renovate the first floor. That was to pay for the purchase of the building and the renovation of the first floor. We got started in February, and in August of 2007, we walked into this building. We had raised all the money.
It was a very exciting time. We had a group come down from Illinois with over 100 high schoolers and about 40 adults. They did the taking down of the petitions, over 24 12-foot petitions, plaster and lath on both sides. For 2 weeks, they just had a wonderful time doing that.
Our first middle school celebration was in 2010. We had 10 8th graders, and we were proud of them. They had been with us for some time. And to me, the exciting thing that I remember about that is 3 of them went to a prestigious Christian school. Several weeks after school was going, the principal came to me and said, these students that you sent us from Heritage are remarkable. He said, there's one question, an interview question we always ask. If you were given $1 million, what would you do? And all three said they'd give the money to Heritage Academy to complete their second floor.
I guess it was 2019. We ran across two important studies. One was the Brandeis study on the significance of early childhood. And it was in that Brandeis study that they referenced James Heckman, who was a Nobel Prize-winning economist who did a study on the economic benefits of early childhood education. It was really eye-opening to me. We began to explore the possibility of it being the most effective way to help children get a great education by going down instead of up. And so we explored the idea of an early childhood center, a learning center, not a daycare. COVID shut the school down in March 2020, and we began our capital campaign in February 2020. So God showed up very quickly. We got a $500,000 anonymous gift and then over $4 million in the Giles estate gift. And then some other gifts came in from churches and that supplied the furniture and some other furnishings. Both Jan and I always said when we didn't think we could be effective any longer, that we would consider retirement. This is a big job. And so I think I first began to think of retirement about 2 years out or 18 months out. We hired a consultant firm to do an internal assessment of people on staff and see whether we needed to go out. So there was a lot of testing and interviewing, and we had good candidates. Eventually we landed on Miss Watson, whose commitment to the school, whose expertise, her education, and really her passion for the children. Two things speak to donors: passion and integrity, and she's got them.